Welcome back to Devil's Advocate and an exclusive interview with the Minister for Women and Child Development, Renuka Chaudhary. Mr. Chaudhary, I put it to you that the great danger of the Domestic Violence Act, which came into force on the 26th of October, is that in the hands of a bad judge or a good prosecuting attorney, it can be used to harass innocent men, to entrap innocent husbands and deny them justice. That's the danger of the imprecision of the loose wording and the huge ambit of so-called offences included here.
All right.
You accept?
They may be.
What do you mean maybe?
If you're saying so, you're so convinced of it.
But
so are you going to even listen to what I have to say?
I have been listening to it great length. You now seem to be agreeing with me.
We don't have an agreeable concept of what is listening.
But tell me something. If you accept that this act in the hands of a bad judge or a clever prosecuting attorney can inflict injustice on innocent men, then does it not need amendment?
Mr. Karan Thapa, every law in this country is in the hands of a bad judge and a clever prosecutor.
Then why add to the problem?
It is nothing new or unique, the situation. So hence, when we have bad judges, your words, and clever prosecutors, your words, where do the women of this country take recourse to regarding
but do they
the
need a bad
situation
law?
that they live in?
That's the problem. You're adding to the situation of bad judges by giving them a bad law.
You are only telling me the bad law for men.
But that's 50% of the Indian population. But that's 50% of the Indian population.
Yeah, but my tragedy is that I have women who are no longer even 50%
You
of
really
this
believe that you can't do
that
justice to women without doing injustice to men?
I don't want to do injustice to
but
men.
In
this case, they don't.
You've just done it.
If you see it that way. Is it injustice against women that we've had rape laws in place and dowry laws in place and they have never been adhered
if
to? That women are killed every
of
minute?
the cases brought under the dowry law, as I told you in part 1, turn out to be false, a statistic given by the Center for Social Research, if the Supreme Court itself has opined on the subject roughly at the same time last year, then surely you don't need to add to bad laws by creating more.
Hello, can I tell you that it's the courts which have been proactive. It's the High Court which has just recently ruled here, saying that for 7 years after the woman is married, for 7 years, please listen to me, that the family will be held accountable for her death. Why would a court take that extreme order? Do you think that that is a fine law?
Yes.
Do you agree with the opinion of the court?
Absolutely. But I'm not talking about murder. I'm talking about offences that are just limited to sarcasm.
They're talking about
I'm talking about sarcasm to the stepbrother of a former girlfriend covered by this law. That's why it's a bad law.
Stepbrother of a former girlfriend, it depends on a one-to-one.
Let me give you another example.
You don't have to be a relative of a woman for sarcasm. As a citizen, if you misbehave with another citizen, under the ICC, you can be held up.
Let me tell you why
this is very little that is new.
Let me point to you why this is in fact a dangerous law that can be misused in the hands of bad judges or clever prosecuting attorney. Clause 4.1 says, any person who has reason to believe that an act of domestic violence has been or is being or is likely to be committed can inform the authorities with no liability if he or she is wrong. Secondly, at that point in time, a magistrate can impose a protection order that can severely restrict the rights of the accused. You're creating a devilish situation entirely on the basis of mischief makers and tittle-tattlers snooping around.
Maybe initially you will have the tittle-tattlers, you'll have everything. But I also like to believe that maybe we save so many lives where we know the in-laws are planning to kill them or force her into a sati death or
you may also end up trapping innocent in-laws because paramours and other malignant people.
Innocent in-laws, you have nothing to worry.
You know the problem with clause 4.1?
Innocent in-laws live in harmony with their daughters-in-law.
But the problem is that mischief makers create trouble where there is harmony.
Mischief makers
do
create trouble
everywhere.
It's mischief makers who don't tell us that women are forced to come or are opiated and forced to commit sati. It is mischief makers who report on income tax laws, if you remember earlier. May I remind you?
You don't need a law to tackle sati.
Of course you needed a law to tackle.
It's already a crime in India. You don't need a new law.
Sure, but
you know what are your
success stories?
Let me point out. You know the problem. Let me point out the problem with clause 4.1. It permits anyone who is inimical to you, leave aside an enemy of yours, to go and mischievously and maliciously report on things he claims you're doing and get away with it. In fact, it even permits your wife's paramour to turn up and make mischief against you and to do so with impunity.
Yeah, but I'll tell you something, Karan. Irrespective of that, these are preventive checks that we are putting in. You think the law is an ass that they'll suddenly come and arrest
I'm
you
afraid
without...
this law is an ass.
Okay,
That's
fine.
exactly
If
what I'm saying.
That's
This
all
law is
that's
close
your
to being
opinion.
asinine.
That may be there, but I want to tell you, there are very few sections under this law which are not existing under the IPC
Which
already.
if you didn't need it, it's redundant, so why do you bring it about?
It's not redundant. We are empowering the IPC to do it. Delhi has reported that in the last year, 8,000 marital discord cases were reported to the police, and there was little the police could do. How do you answer that?
Let me end with one simple question. From Soli Sohrabji to ordinary Indians, there is great concern about the imprecision and the dangerous wording and the dangerous ambit of this law. Are you prepared to listen and amend it?
Of course. We are prepared in a democracy to listen and respond to a situation that could be an aberration on a societal
But
fabric.
you're going to wait for the situation to happen and then you're going to respond.
That does not deny the right for us to bring about a law like this.
Even if it's a bad law.
It is an unmet need, and the women across the country have not yet
You're
protested.
saying to me that a bad law is better than no law at all?
If you want to see it that way.
You
Any law is better than no law at all.
A pleasure talking to you on Devil's Advocate.
Well, thank you, but be careful.